Okay, everybody, welcome. We're so happy that you could join us this afternoon to celebrate Elizabeth Tighe's retirement after 36 years directing the Poquoson Public Library. We appreciate that. We appreciate that you were able to come after our reschedule of the event. We were unfortunate that this weekend we came up against a force stronger than Mrs. Tighe, Mother Nature. I hope everybody enjoyed the food. I would like to thank all the library staff, especially Ann Smith, for organizing this event and cooking the food and making it all come together. So I'd like to give them a... In the audience tonight, I would like to recognize Elizabeth's family. Her husband, Sean, is here. Her son, Brian. Her brother, George. And his wife, Sin. Unable to join us tonight was Elizabeth's daughter, Victoria, and her son, Alan. So we are missing them tonight. We are here to honor Elizabeth Tighe for her dedication to the Poquoson Public Library and the Poquoson community over the last 36 years. Our first speaker this evening is going to be Randy Wheeler, our city manager.
Congratulations. When I first came to the city to be city manager 6 or 7 years ago, they tell you things to be afraid of, and one of the things to be afraid of right out the bat was that Elizabeth would leave and that she would retire. And I'm very thankful that you spent almost 7 additional years with me as well. 36 years is an amazing time. Put that in perspective, as I'm a week away from my 51st birthday. I was 15 years old when you moved here to be library director. And what you've created here is nothing less than amazing. The Chief of Police talks about legacy of leadership that you leave. Your legacy was with you for 36 years, and it will transcend you and it will follow you. And as Amy steps in to help lead the library, it will just continue. What you've done is remarkable, and the thing that's really remarkable is that you built something that will last. It wasn't just about you, but it was forged by you. And that is truly amazing, and I'm very thankful for that. I want to take a moment to thank the members of the City Council that are here. Our Vice Mayor Hunt, Vice Mayor Freeman, who is somewhere, I'll lose him in the crowd, Councilman Green and Councilman Vernal, and if one of the other 3 came in late, I don't see them. I also want to take a moment and thank our good friend and partner, Thomas Nelson Community College President John Dever. You know, you made somebody's list of people you influenced when the president of the community college comes on a Sunday, on a snow day, to spend his day with you. So I just want to say that we're all made better. This community has been made better by you. As a city manager, you want first and foremost, you hope your department heads are good enough that you don't have to be in their business. And that's certainly been the case with you. But the next step up is that they're so good that they teach you their business along the way. And I thank you for what you've taught me along the way, both about libraries and about being a manager and really being a person as well. Elizabeth, somebody said the weather was stronger than Elizabeth. I sense that's only because she'd allowed it to be. Elizabeth has a quiet power of confidence and character that is found in very few people in this world. So we're all much better for having worked with you. And even though you're moving to York, your library card will still, or moving there is a full-time citizen and no longer working here, your library card will always work here. And my door will always be open. And as I close, I just want to observe, and I'm probably stealing the mayor's joke, that in 7 years, I've only seen this room full twice. Once for Walmart, and once for you. And this is a much happier occasion.
Thank you, Randy. We're going to have a little bit of a shake-up in the schedule. Next up to speak is going to be Isabella Szynski, the Newport News Public Library Director, will be up next.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Virginia Library Association and the Virginia Public Library Directors Association, I want to express my gratitude and thanks for everything that Elizabeth has done for us. She has been a leader, and actually right now I think she is after Sam Clay perhaps, the longest serving director in the Virginia Public Libraries. So. She has taught us a lot. At the Virginia Public Library Directors Association, she has been more than willing to step in, and she's never said no. She's never said it can't be done. It's always been, let's figure out how we can do it. And that's an example that she set for all of us. She is also one photography hound because anytime we did anything, Elizabeth was there with her camera to take pictures. And the 1 year she could not come, we were bereft because there were no photographs taken of that activity. So on behalf of all the library directors, past and present, wish you well and great success and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Isa. Next up, we're going to have George Kurkowski and Terry Johnson from the Library Advisory Board.
Thank you, Amy. Mr. Hunt, Mr. Wheeler, City Council members, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out this afternoon for Elizabeth's retirement. These kind of ceremonies are always pleasant, also sad. We hate to see Elizabeth leave. As the chairperson of the Poquoson Library Advisory Board, I am indeed very pleased to say a few words and truly appreciate the great turnout on a Sunday afternoon with somewhat icy roads. Knowing that local libraries are rapidly transforming and thus have to reinvent themselves to stay relevant in today's web-connected world that puts the world on our smartphone, Miss Elizabeth Tye has done a terrific and much appreciated job these past 36 years as the library director, overseeing the many changes due to growth, technology, and much more. Over the years, the many kudos received by Ms. Tye, as we've seen on those great historical CD-ROM presentation while we were celebrating. I could spend hours talking about everything that was achieved. So the Poquoson leadership and community reading public appreciates the many challenges, opportunities, initiatives, and salient achievements, especially in technology, by invariably doing the right things right in terms of providing excellent library services. I've always told Ms. Tye and the staff that I'm from a big city, Chicago, and most of my jobs were in big cities, and without any exaggeration, the support and service that the reading public gets here is equivalent, if not better than a big city in terms of responsiveness and ability to get digital or print materials. Therefore, it is no surprise that the fiscal year 2014 Virginia library statistics that were released September 2015 showed that our library ranked first in circulation and visits per capita among the 15 public libraries in the Tidewater area. It's not a mean feat. Those kind of results do not happen through osmosis. It takes a lot of dedicated management skills and support from her wonderful staff. As the head librarian and director for 36 years, Ms. Tye made good impression on all. Over the years, Ms. Tye vacated various cramped library locations for the current wonderful facility that is the pride of our community. And I remember two of the previous ones, having been not a lifelong native here, but long enough. Under her able stewardship, the library went mainstream by installing computers and printers and going digital with e-reader service and many other technological marvels. There were countless other library initiatives as well. Needless to say, Ms. Tai is leaving our library in very capable hands. Thank you again for coming this afternoon. Let's enjoy today's retirement ceremony because we have enjoyed the past 36 years. May God bless each and every one of us.
Sorry, Amy. I'm going to be very brief. Elizabeth, congratulations. What I want to talk about, while we all extol her virtues as a librarian and the things that she's done here, is her service to the community. Far beyond what she does as a work person here, Elizabeth participates in Kiwanis and any number of boards, and that makes a big difference. It accounts for how this community, this city, and the Kiwanis Club tab in particular, have grown and stayed healthy. I thank you for that service, and I think we all do.
Thank you, George and Terry. Next up, we're going to have Randy Pine, the Friends of the Library president.
It's not often I get to follow another Randy. I have the great privilege of representing the Friends of the Poquoson Public Library. Our organization is a group of volunteers whose focus is on supporting and cooperating with the library in developing facilities and services for our community. We do this through book sales and other fundraising events. In 1979, in a match surely made in heaven, the city of Poquoson happened to be looking for a full-time librarian at exactly the same time that Elizabeth Tai moved to the Tidewater area and was looking for a librarian position. We all are fortunate for that alignment of the stars, for she has been making a mark on Poquoson ever since. Her 36-year tenure as librarian of the Poquoson Library has led us from paperbacks and hardbounds to MP3 players to Kindles and Nooks and computers. And she has led the library and her staff through the years of media and venue changes. And as she has done this, the Friends of the Poquoson Public Library were there to provide a helping hand. Mrs. Tai began her tenure with the library in 1979, and by January of 1980, the Friends of the Library had been formally established, with Mrs. Tai helping to guide our fledgling organization in providing support financially and otherwise to the little library. With Mrs. Tai at the helm, the library grew, and the Friends have been honored to be there to help accomplish her vision in remodeling the First National Bank and to assist in furnishing our brand new library in this building. What many of us thought of as a wish, Elizabeth Tai made into a reality. In fact, Mrs. Tai is known by the Friends Board for her wish lists. About twice a year, Mrs. Tai comes to us with a list of programs and services, electronics, and updates that she wishes that she could have, but for which there isn't sufficient library funding. She is extraordinary at determining just what new programs or equipment will add to the library's allure. And she is a very good wisher. The Friends have been pleased to work with her to provide those extras that make the Poquoson Public Library among the best in Tidewater and indeed in the Commonwealth of Virginia. The Friends have been around almost as long as Mrs. Tai and have had the pleasure of working with her to make our library great. It's really hard for me to imagine coming into this library and not seeing Mrs. Tai in the office or seeing her out amongst the collection. At our recent Friends meeting, we presented Mrs. Tai with the Folio Award, an award given to a member of the Friends of the Poquoson Public Library for distinctive service and support of the library as the educational and cultural center of Poquoson. Now, seriously, Can you imagine a more deserving recipient than Elizabeth Ty? For 36 years, she has guided, reinvented to keep up with the times, and made our library the educational and cultural center of Poquoson. She has made permanent and tremendous contributions to the city of Poquoson, the Tidewater area, as well as the Commonwealth of Virginia through her work with the Virginia Library Association. The Friends want to make sure that these contributions are permanently acknowledged and that library patrons are reminded what a difference Elizabeth Ty made in our community. It is our honor to present Elizabeth and the city of Poquoson with this plaque to be hung permanently out in the library, reminding us, as the plaque says, of Elizabeth S. Ty's leadership and dedication to the enrichment of the Poquoson community. Thank you, Elizabeth, for showing us, as you have reminded us many times, that the fact that we are a small library is not reason to be less than excellent. The Friends of the Library hope that you will join us when you can so we can continue to benefit from your vision and drive. Because of your help, the Poquoson Public Library and the Friends organization have grown and flourished. You have made a magnificent difference in many, many lives and organizations, and we will miss you. Our hope for you is that your comings and goings will always be filled with wonder and joy, and that all your wish lists may be fulfilled.
Thank you, Randy. Next up, we'll have Marty Staten, Youth Services Librarian for the Poquoson Public Library.
What an honor it is for me to represent the staff of the library, and it is with mixed emotions that we come to this day. 18 of us are excited that she'll finally get the chance to slow down a little bit and to smell some of the beautiful roses she arranges, and maybe swim her laps and do her kickboxing and Zumba classes whenever she wants to, instead of at the end of a long, hard day. But we are also challenged to keep her baby, the Poquoson Public Library, not just alive, but thriving and continuing to excel in her honor. We are family here at this library. And if that is so, then Mrs. Ty has been our mama bear, always supportive and caring. She goes to bat for us, doesn't she? And she encourages us to put our own families first. When asked to give some adjectives to describe our boss, the staff responded with forward-thinking, dedicated, a powerhouse, awe-inspiring, loyal, resourceful, generous, innovative, knowledgeable, and Energizer Bunny. I thought it might be fun to play a little Did You Know so that you might see where we arrived at some of these descriptions. Did you know that Elizabeth S. Ty has a strong DNA? With a mother who worked until she was 75 years of age as a senator of a province in Taiwan, and her father as a Supreme Court judge there? Did you know that she often shares her pride in her husband and her 3 children who all excel in their chosen fields? We miss Alan and Vicki, but we're so glad that Mr. Ty and Brian and George and Sin could be with us tonight. Would you be surprised to know that Vicki, at the ripe age of 2 years, accompanied Mrs. Ty on her interview for this job on that October day in 1979? And that then city manager John Rowe recently said, Mrs. Ty was the best hire he ever made. Would you be surprised to know that Mrs. Ty is the only professional librarian this library has ever had, and she obtained its accreditation in 1980. And in her 36 years at its helm, she has led us to consistently more than double both the Virginia and national averages of patron visits and circulation items. Did you know that the library only started out with 9,000 donated books and has grown to over 136,000 items in its circulation right now? Would you be surprised to know that Mrs. Ty has worked with 4 mayors and 5 different city managers, giving them all the busiest and best library in Virginia to brag about? And that in 1983, she was named Poquoson's Outstanding Employee of the Year. In 2004, was named Virginia's Outstanding Director for her leadership and dedication to our community. I bet you didn't know that on her birthday, Mrs. Ty always swims the number of laps of years she celebrates. Did you know that the beautiful plants and flowers that grace our library are the work of her 2 green thumbs? And that her high expectations of her staff are exceeded only by the higher standards she sets for herself? As Terry alluded, Mrs. Ty served her community in numerous capacities, including 30 years of translating for the American Red Cross Language Bank, and on boards such as the Poquoson Education Foundation, the Thomas Nelson Community College Board, the Peninsula Chinese American Association, and so many other. On news of her retirement, Mrs. Ty has received accolades and well wishes from library directors across the state, thanking her for her so pleasantly and freely sharing ideas and programming with them. And just this past Thursday, she received a congratulatory letter from Senator Mark Warner. I bet you didn't know that. She's received letters of commendation from Governor Gilmore, Senator Tommy Norment, and Delegate Helsel, and she's been nominated to receive both state and national proclamations of commendation upon her retirement. With her fierce commitment to excellence, Mrs. Ty has spearheaded many initiatives and enthusiastically established Poquoson Public Library as one of the most respected libraries in Virginia. And so we say a huge thank you, Mrs. Ty. You have instilled in your staff to always do our best, nothing halfway, no regrets. We are looking toward the future, doing tomorrow, today. You've done your job well. You have us fired up and ready to go, and we'll do our best to make you proud. We know you won't be idle in your retirement, but have fun, and Godspeed in your journey to excellence in whatever you do. You are special to all of us, for once a library lady, always a library lady.
Thank you, Marty. Next up, we'll have Mayor Eugene Hunt.
Well, that's really a tough act to follow, all of it. And Ms. Ty, you should be so pleased that so many people think so highly of you. I'm glad to be the 4th mayor, and Randy's like the 5th city manager, you know, but it's actually my honor, because I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story of a Poquoson without a library. When I was a young man, and I've been here all my life, there's no doubt with that, with the last name of Hunt, but we didn't have a library. The city of Poquoson did not. My aunts, my Aunt Elva, used to take me over to the Charles Taylor Library over in Hampton. Okay? And then every once in a while, we take a visit to Newport News down on West Avenue, and that library is still there today. And I stop in there every once in a while on a long walk around the shipyard when I just had enough. But it was really very vital that the city made a decision, and my hat is off to the city manager at the time, Mr. Rowe, who I've never actually met. I was 19 at the time, Randy. But I had left when Poquoson formed his library. I was at college. And we were so fortunate that he picked you. So fortunate. In that I recognize from where you have been that though you were the library director, you were the library originally. There was no staff. There was you, okay? And now you have grown the library, several moves, several pieces of technology, which we've all heard, and I won't reiterate all that, but you've grown it to a staff of 18. And I will tell you that it is truly the jewel of Poquoson. There's no doubt. You just don't get that by hiring somebody. You get that by hiring a person who cares, who wants to drive, and who wants things to be a certain way at a certain time and make it succeed. Ms. Ty, you were that person. And we appreciate greatly in our small city of Poquoson your presence with us over these 36 years. You have been a pillar in our community. There is nobody that I walked around to in the past couple weeks saying, speaking of Ms. Ty's retirement upcoming, that didn't know who Ms. Ty was in our city. I will tell you that is the mark of character, and that is the mark of what you have accomplished. I was so impressed to read some of the articles out there that you worked in New York City and Cincinnati, but I said, well, the most important city there obviously was Poquoson. Okay. What I will tell you is that on behalf of the city, on behalf of City Council, and on behalf of its citizens, I wish you the best in retirement. I wish you and your family, who I have greatly appreciated the introductions of, health and a great future. And we will miss you so much, but to the staff that's going to take over, I also wish you the best of luck, that you have been trained by one of the best, one of the best. And I have no doubt that we will continue in this tradition, a tradition that brings a plaque, a tradition that will bring a portrait from the city, and a tradition that I hope that will always be the Poquoson Library. I will tell you there's not a place that I go that I don't brag upon it. I brag about two things in it. Well, actually, there's all of our city's departments are great, but I brag about all of our city departments, our library, our schools, our fire department. They're all great, and they're all great people. They are very much all like you, and that's why I appreciate the staff so much, but I appreciate for today, they all appreciate you, and I see them all here as well. That's the makings of a great city, where not only do you do your calling, but the others around you see that that by your level of success, they want their departments to exceed that same level. So great job. I do have a plaque here. And Ms. Ty, you're going to speak next. So if you can come up here and join me, please. And this is in recognition and honor of Elizabeth S. Ty, the director of the Poquoson Library, and it says, whereas the Poquoson Public Library was established in 1976 in a small white wooden house on Odd Road as part of the city's participation in the Yorktown Bicentennial Celebration. Whereas Elizabeth S. Ty was hired in October of 1979 as the city's first professional librarian. Whereas under Elizabeth Ty's leadership, library services has grown substantially, touching the lives of many through its collection